to see it. Okay, so as promised, this is the feedback moment. If you want to do it, this is the chance to come up here with your sheet of paper or your group's sheet of paper and tell us all in a minute or three what it was that you talked about and why it went so well and what you intend to do about it in the next few days, weeks and months. Would anyone like to come and do that? Has anyone got a piece of paper and an idea or an idea that they feel is worth?
I'm going to be brief because I'm going to go, but the major problem that we saw on the finance section over here was the fact that rents in Jersey are considerably higher than they are in the rest of Europe and England. And so that and our prices, the prices for the food, is actually largely generated by London and the UK. So that you're buying a cauliflower for, let's say, £1. That pound, it will cost you £1 in England, it's going to cost you £1 in Jersey. The difference is if you grow that cauliflower in England, you're going to pay a rent of about £100 an acre. This £100 an acre was like a rule of thumb. 1 acre grows 2 tonnes of wheat. 2 tonnes of wheat is valued at £200. It's 100 for you and it's 100 for the landowner. So it's sort of like goes back to the Middle Ages. In Jersey, rents here tend to be distorted by the fact of the Jersey Royal. So if the Jersey Royal, for about 2 weeks of the year, will produce about £2,000 an acre because of the margin that they get, and after that, very little. So the likes of Amalgrow will be paying, say, possibly £600 an acre or that thereon. So all Jersey farmers are at that sort of rent level. So automatically, they're not playing on a level playing field. We're talking about a difference of about £500 an acre. So our question was, and what we were trying to drive, was how do we reduce the rents for land? And we didn't really come up with too many answers, but the fact is, what we've actually come forward with, I haven't got my glasses on. Unused land, effectively, if you've got unused land, it really should be put to auction so that for the year. So if somebody wants to bid for it, and they can use it for agricultural purposes, and if you've got unused land, and there's quite a bit of it about in look around Jersey, there's unused land there, then effectively you've got to get planning permission to have it unused. So maybe that's something that the states might have to look at. Who's the planning minister? I can't remember.
Write his name down.
It's a kiss of death. And then that sort of brought us on.
As well.
Yes, of course. So we're talking about releasing more land effectively, so that the market would drive the price of land down. So it would be a more level playing field for local growers. They then would have a more sustainable business. We're not necessarily talking organic at the moment, but we're actually talking a viable vegetable food producing business, so they can compete on an equal terms with what's coming through the pier heads. Now what's coming through the pier heads is London prices plus about 15% for transport. So that automatically helps in terms of level playing field. Now how you get more land into agricultural use raises all sorts of questions, and we were going to form a dictatorship over there. We were going to actually say rent controls was one option. We were going to say you can't put a horse on it, and things like that, which sounds a bit nasty. And the other thing that we were talking about with rent controls, the landlord is obviously going to suffer in the short term, and that would not be too popular in the States because they are quite a major land, actually, on housing owner. So it wasn't an option. And then we were talking about educating the public to eat more local food, and that was a very sensible option. So if there's far more publicity, so if the local population is out there in the shops buying local, ensuring that they have, it's a bit like Buying Britain campaign 20 years ago, very similar. So we came up with that as a possibility and how we could drive that forward, but we never really came up with a solution. Then we had get a bank to sponsor agriculture. I don't know which bank that would be.
Well, can I just
Can I add to that?
Oh, sorry,
Just
that was
to,
yours.
just to, yeah. It's just, obviously, we live on an island that's dominated by the financial sector at the moment. And my thoughts with this was that if we could get one of the financial organisations to sponsor, we are charity registered apparently, so I believe that's quite favourable for the organisations. They can get as a tax relief on charitable donations. And I think we just came up with, they'd be able to say, such and such, we sponsor organic farming or organic food production, which possibly an organisation might actually feel quite proud to be behind. And also we wondered if that might then link into a little bit more political leverage. I don't know what's come up on the sort of political tables, but once you can say that you've got one of the sort of clouts of the financial organisations behind you, not that I wish to cast aspersions about the politics and things, but I'm sure suddenly they might become a little bit more interested. So I just thought that it might feed in as well. So that was and then Josh came up with a great idea that I can't even begin to go into because I don't really understand it. But Josh